Professor Wergely's here. We just finished the onClick.html example. We're going to move forward to number 6, dynamic background. Let's make a small application using JavaScript to dynamically change the contents of a page. So here, you're going to see I have a black background, and I have the 5 required tags. I have internal styles, and I have internal JavaScript. You'll see I have a function declaration that's called page loaded. Now, once the page is loaded, I'm going to start comparing the hours here. So you see if the hours is greater than 7 or less than 9, I'm going to change the background image to dawn. If the hours is greater than or equal to 9 or less than 18, it'll be the day. Greater than or equal to 18, less than 20 is going to be dusk. Then I have night. And then if these if statements don't work, we're just going to print this random image called California sunset. Now, you'll see I have an ID on the body. So there's nothing in the body. I'm going to dynamically change the contents of the body. Now, if you use some popular frameworks like React or Angular, they are single-page applications. And a single-page application is going to change the content dynamically using one single HTML file, which is the case that we're going to do here. In this example, I'm changing images, but you can imagine that these would be different websites. So let's say I have a navigation bar, and you click on the first tab, and it loads the first HTML page. You click on the second tab, instead of switching to another page, it just dynamically changed the content in the body element or in a div or whatever element you specify. So this is a good example of how powerful JavaScript is, and let's code this example. So first, we're going to call this function when the page has loaded. So I have an ID on the body. I can also specify the onLoad event. And I'm going to call page loaded. Okay, inside page loaded, let's do a print statement to make sure that that works properly. So I'm going to do console log, and I'll just say page loaded called. Save it, refresh it, do a right click, do an inspect, go to the console. You'll see that print statement didn't work. What did I do wrong? Okay, I forgot the parentheses. Remember, for an exam, those parentheses matter. So let's say I give you a coding example, and I say, what's the output of this code? You're going to look at the code. You're going to say, okay, well, hours is between 7 and 9, so it's going to print out dawn. Well, in this case, no, it won't. You forgot the parentheses. So on a test, make sure those parentheses are there. They're very important. So once I add the parentheses, we should see the function executed. So here you'll see page loaded called. However, hours is not defined. So let's define hours. First, I'm going to grab the date. So I'll create a variable called d, and I'll use the date function. Next, I'm going to grab the hours. So let's say I grab the hours based off the date. They have a function called getHours. Okay, this function also requires the parentheses because it's a function call. And then I need to specify what content is. So after I have the date, after I have the hours, content will be equal to the body's ID. So I can do document, which is the DOM, get element by ID, which is the method we've learned so far. I'm going to grab the ID that's on the body, which is called content. So I'll put the ID here, content, semicolon. So that means I'm going to grab the date. Based off the date, I'm going to just get the hours, which will be an integer. Then I'm going to grab the content, which will basically be the entire body. And depending on what the hours is, I'm going to set that image. So let's do a refresh. And you'll see this image appears. So right now it's about 7 o'clock. That is 7 p.m. So that'll be roughly 1900 hours. So that's going to be our dusk. Okay, because here in California, the sun is setting. It is dusk time right now. Now, when you write code, you're going to want to check the code. You're going to want to debug the code because now we're getting into logical side of programming. So do all of these if statements work? Well, you got to test that. So let's comment out get hours, and we'll test to see if these if statements execute properly. So the first one is between 7 and 9. So let's put the hours as 7 and see if it goes into the first one. So I'll do a refresh, and you'll see the first one has loaded. Okay, you'll see it's dawn. If I actually increase the size, you'll see there's no sun in this image. So I'm going to increase the size of the browser. I'm going to decrease the size of the code. And let's try, let's say 8. Okay, do a refresh. You'll see it's the same. What about 9? Do a refresh. You'll see now the image went to day. Okay, so 9 through 18. So let's say I try 17. Okay, 17 works. What happens if I go up to 18? Okay, 18 now went to dusk. So if it's between 18 and 20, it'll be dusk. So if I do 19, it should still be dusk. What about 20? Okay, 20 should be night. Okay, 20 should be night. But what happened here? It loaded the California sunset image. And I don't have any errors. So I don't have any errors as far as syntax errors, but I definitely have a logical error. What I want you to do is take a look at the code and try to figure out what went wrong. I put the hours as 20, but for some reason it went in this else statement. Look at the code, figure out what went wrong, and continue to the next video.